Okay. Good afternoon, all. Today I am going to talk about if sentences or conditional. As we discussed already about tense and voice, active and passive, and the next one is causative verb. And today we are going to talk about if sentence. And see here, what are the differences? Whether you should be clear about tense or not. See, there is well connection with tense with voice. If you are familiar with tense, all the structure of tense are the all structure of active voice, and they are transformed into passive. And if you are not familiar with the structure of tense or active voice, you cannot change into passive, or passive cannot be transformed into active. See, in tense and active voice, we saw the role of subject is proper or must, or the role of subject or the subject would affect the object with the help of verb. Subject is active. Subject is active. Then in passive voice, though subject is there, but subject is not active one. Subject does not have any role. Subject is affected by object or any other what the agents there. The subject cannot do anything. Like the forest is being, or a tree is being caught, we say, or a tree is caught. Like the tree cannot do itself, but people are cutting tree. People as a subject can affect to tree as object there. See, in active, subject has role. In passive, then the subject cannot do anything. Subject should accept what is being done upon him or is affected by a object. And in causative, we found something different. The difference is that in causative, the speaker does not do anything. Neither subject is affected or speaker is affected. Neither subject does for himself or herself anything, nor is affected by any other. Rather, what makes is in causative, with the help of three causative verbs, have, get, and make. Using these three, then it affects to others. See, makes what others do for him. Like Ram has his brother clean the kitchen. Means with the help of brother, then he does something for him. See here. So this is what we see in causative with the help of these three causative verbs, have, get, and make. Then the subject or the speaker makes done something for him by others. Okay. Here, so in if sentence, here is nothing independent, nothing free. Rather, the things are in condition. Things are done, or activities are done, or are in condition and are done conditionally. See, the condition applies here. We have three structures, three main rules, three main structures of condition, but each conditional structure is is broken, is what written here differently. See, now I read what is here. If sentence. First, if sentences are conditional sentences. If sentences keep a condition in expression, in other words, they are used for implying a condition. These sentences are often used with if clause and hence are named if sentences. There are three main sorts of if conditional sentence. See, in conditional sentence, if sentence, there are two clauses. One is if clause and another is main clause. See, here it says, each sort contains a different pair of tense and has two parts, the if clause and the main clause. See, there are three main structure. There are three structures. One is simple present or present simple. Second is simple past. Another is past perfect. These three are here. This categorized or written in this way. See the structure first. Let's be clear with the structures what is here. See, number one, if clause, number one, and within one, the first one, if plus subject plus P1, B5. As it says subject plus P1, B5, then it is present simple. Simple present or present simple. With if before the subject. See. Then the main clause is same. Subject plus B1 plus B5. B1, B5 plus object. Okay. B1, B5. And here the condition is cause and effect that come together. There is no gap. When something is done, some action is done, the cause takes place, then the effect also takes place together. As in example, you see, if you boil water, when you boil water, what happens? It doesn't take any time, even a single second. There is no gap. When water boils, then there is vapor. See, the together, you cannot separate time between boiling water and the vaporizing. Okay, so two, you see together. Water is boiling and vaporizing. Okay, so coming together are taking place together. So this here, this condition is that the cause and effect that take place together. As you boil water, then it changes into vapor. So there is no gap. When before it is 100 degree, before it boils, then the vaporizing begins here. So that the boiling means vaporizing beginning. See, there is no gap. Cause and effect taking place together. In first and the second condition is C. If plus subject plus B1, B5 plus something. That is, if clause is same in present simple, but main clause is something different, you see, then in the first one. What is different? See, subject plus will shall can may must plus P1 plus subject. It means that the cause takes place at the moment, but effect may take place later. Effect takes place later. See, in boiling water, there is no gap. When water is boiled, vaporizing begins. There is no single second gap. Okay. Here example is that if Sanu calls him, when Sanu calls him, he will go to meet her. When he will go? Immediately, as soon as he receives the call, it takes somewhat few seconds there to walk towards meet her, or he will go tomorrow. He will go after few days even. But as we see, in boiling water, vaporizing does not take place after what moment. See, it happens, it takes place together. So the first condition, E plus subject B1, B5 plus, then what main clause, subject plus B1, B5. But in second, E plus subject B1, B5. Calling means this time he calls. But will go, yes, will go. Shall, will, can, may, must. Okay, he must go. When to go? Tomorrow must go. Day after tomorrow, after 5 months, he must go. Okay, like that. If there is a gap, at least sometimes what gap. And within one, the third condition applies here is that the first if clause is same. See, if clause is same. Subject plus if plus subject plus B1, B5 plus something. And then main clause is B1 plus ... A condition here imperative. See, imperative means what we understand imperative sentence? Suggestion, order, command, advice. Okay, like that. These are the sentences which are called imperative that begin with verb 1. Verb first. Okay, like close the door. You have to close the door when you are in classroom in physical. Then if I say close the door, then you start, you close. Okay, you cannot stay silent. You have to do. That's the command. That's order, or that's the advice you take. Okay. So it begin, these kind of sentences begin with verb first. Okay. Verb is there. So these are called imperative. Here, for advice, suggestion, command, order. Like here, example is, if you want to pass the exam, work hard. It is not compulsory. If you don't want to, don't study. So condition, if you want to pass, study hard, work hard. So it is a suggestion here. So if you remain silent, you will fail. Condition is here. Condition applies. If you study well, then you will pass. Okay. That's what condition. This is the work hard. If you want to pass the exam, if you want to just what know all, then we study well, like that. And see the same thing by using unless instead of if. In the place, by replacing if with the help of unless, then the same condition here, unless plus subject B plus B1 B5 plus something, and in main clause there must be, I'm repeating, there must be subject plus shall, will, can, may, must plus not. Okay, not should be there. Not should come together. You should use not in main clause. You cannot avoid not. See, unless we read hard, we can't pass the exam. You have to use not. Unless you play well, you won't win the match. Unless you stop smoking, you won't be healthy. Like that, we can see. So this is a condition. And second one, this is all in what? Present simple, but main clause in different what tense. In second and third, people are confused very often. People are confused. People don't remember. People but commit mistake. But it's very easy. What people do it. People what commit mistake. People write mistake. Use mistakenly even while I speaking to. So what I suggest here, you have to do one thing. Second condition is the number 2. The condition here is simple past, or it is called past simple. See, if plus subject plus B2 plus object. See, subject plus B2, we have already learned that this structure lies in simple past or past simple. The verb is in past form. So here is, if I had money. Had is used as main verb, show have or have, B1, B5, and had is B3. When it comes immediately after subject, and if there is no any other verbs, then had here is main verb, but as it is had, it is verb 2, past form. See. And in main clause, people are confused. In main clause, people, we have to use subject plus would, could, should, might plus B1. See, should, would, could, might plus B1. Again, I am repeating. Should, would, could, might plus B1 plus something. If I had money, I would buy a car. Not I would have bought. Not I would have bought. If here is B2, then there would, could plus B1. Okay. In third, first, before I share the second condition in second word structure, I talk about third one. Third first, second first. Okay. In third, if plus subject plus had plus B3 plus object. Okay. Had plus B3 we have already talked about. It is in past perfect or past participle that comes with auxiliary verb had and plus B3. Okay. If the had is studied at. Then main clause. The difference in main clause number 2 and 3 is that in number 2, should, would, could, might plus B1 when B2 comes, and in 3, had plus B3 when it comes, then we should use should, would, could plus have plus B3. See, people very often do if clause in past perfect, had plus B3, but main clause people do should, would, could plus B1, or they use if clause with subject plus B2 and use main clause with would could plus have plus B3. So don't commit mistake here. Don't do any mistake. Be careful that when B2 you even in speaking also, when you use simple past, use should would could plus V1. When you speak had plus B3 past perfect, then use should would plus have plus B3. This is what different. And I'm talking about the next what condition in number 2, the same past, simple past can be expressed without the use of if in if sentence and can be made as if there is if. See, the auxiliary is written or the verb is written before, see, here, where are was plus subject, okay, where are was, where are you, if I were you, instead of writing if I were you, we write where are you. B2 is, verb is written first, and then I, you. Then the condition, main clause is same. I wouldn't marry her. Here is negative, not. But it is not compulsory as it was compulsory in the use of unless. There we should write not in the main clause. But here we don't have to write not. It's a word choice. You can write not or you can avoid. Where are you? I would marry her or I wouldn't marry her. It's your word choice. Whether you use not or avoid, use not or avoid not. It's your choice. See, the condition here, not is not necessary. But in unless, then we have to use not. Without not, we cannot write. See. And in second condition, see, had plus subject, as we did in C. As we did in structure number 2 or the condition number 2, there was, see, there is if plus, as we did, where plus subject, where are you? Here in number 4 also, the past perfect, had is written first before the subject. Auxiliary is written first before subject, then we write subject and B3. Had he beaten her, if he had beaten her, and had he beaten her, same. Meaning is same, see. And the main clause is same. She would have cried. If he had beaten her, had he beaten her, she would have cried. Had he not labored hard, or if he had not labored hard, he would have failed the test. See, here is one note. Everyone should be clear with the note that what we do, if I were you, if she were you, if she were prime minister, not was, intense, voice, causative, and other things. We use what was after third person singular and with I was. But here in conditional, there is no use of was, either singular or plural. What comes as subject after E, then we use were. See, if she were, if he were, if I were, if Ram were, we do like that. See here. Example, if she were here, I could explain to her myself. See, let's go through some exercise, then I'll start. Okay, now let's go through exercise. Exercise number 1. Rewrite the following sentences, selecting the correct words from the brackets. Number A, if you buy a book, I will buy a pen. Here, if you buy a book, this is the what second number condition we in number 1, second condition, because if you buy means I'll buy a pen means tomorrow, day after tomorrow, and then what after 5 months I'll buy. I don't buy immediately, together. So there is gap. Next, if you can't answer my questions, read well. Read well is imperative one. The third one. If I can always keep a car. If need be, I can always keep a car. See, if need be, then I can always keep a car. Had I worked hard, had I worked, I had worked, it means if I had worked, I would have passed, okay, the exam. Next, had I had a lot of money, if I had had a lot of money, See, it's a past perfect. I would have helped the poor. If I win a lottery, this is first structure. But this is the second. First is a condition, but second within one. I will arrange a party. Number next, if I had not been successful, I would have given up. I would have given up. The next one, had they informed about the meeting, if they had informed me about the meeting, I would have thanked them. I may leave if a call is made to me. Here call is made out. The sentence is in condition, but this sentence is in passive. The passive if sentence, the present what simple passive if sentence. See here. Number next, will you give him a message if you? Will you give if you find him on the way? Not if you will find. People write if you will find, but if with if clause we don't use will. Only three conditions. If plus you subject you plus subject plus B1 B5, another is subject plus B2, another is subject plus had plus no will. Okay. If you find, then next, had I been a doctor, I would have served the poor person with due care. If he were rich, were not was. If he were, we don't write was, in conditional only were. He would buy a car. See. Next is she will do it better if her teacher guides. She will do better. If she is guided now, then she will do better. If Rakesh tried, he would win. He would win the match. If he knew the answer, he would tell the teacher. If you drop carefully, you wouldn't have. You wouldn't have. No. If you drop carefully, you wouldn't meet, not wouldn't have, wouldn't meet with accident. Okay. Yeah, because drop is V2. Up to here, I've shared all. Now